4 yards per pass.
Who, Daniel Jones?
No.
Oh, Bo.
No, Daniel Jones was chucking it
out.
deep, man. Almost 10 yards.
Who's more likely to repeat Week 1's performance, Nick?
Bo Nix. And that's not an insult on Daniel Jones. It is again, it's 1 week. I know it's 1 week. But the concern of Bo Nix hearing all offseason about how that team is a, sleeper Super Bowl contender, but Sean Payton building him up as this is. I coached Drew Brees for 15 years. There are only 5 teams I believed could win the Super Bowl. This is my 6th team that can win the Super Bowl. That Bo Nix was going to play a little outside of himself, and that's what happened. And it's not that Bo Nix doesn't have a strong arm. He does have he threw the ball downfield fine last year. But he took chances in that game that he had no business taking, and if they did everything they could to lose that game, but they just had Brian Callahan on the other side doing everything he could to lose that game. And I would be very nervous if I were the Broncos going into this game with a Colts team that feels great and whose defense was excellent last week, looking at this Bo Nix film and saying, oh, he's going to give us some opportunities. And so I think Bo Nix will struggle again this week. Doesn't necessarily.
Okay. If I've never seen a take based on so much of a conclusion that's already been drawn about a quarterback that it's just no matter what. I mean, to make fun of Bo Nix's yards per pass and his average and his the depth of targets here is really rich considering who Patrick Mahomes is passing and the shortest average depth of target in the NFL, and it's been that way for years. So let's chill out here. And also now trying to be like, Bo Nix was trying to do too much, and this is a problem because he's heard all this type of stuff. It's like let's just chill. It was week 1 for a second-year quarterback in the NFL. Okay, let's just relax. It's unbelievable. Bo Nix was awesome last year. I know it's really hard for people to accept. He was awesome last year. He played great. I've done all the deep dives, and everyone keeps trying to cook the books. What about when he plays good teams? Yeah, he still played really, 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 really well. So that's what he did. I don't know how else to paint that picture to you right now. And if you think after a game like this that Bo Nix and Sean Payton have no solution, no progress, no development, no growth, no work to put in to make sure that they can continue to build off and improve, I don't know what to tell you then. Then you just fundamentally do not believe in Sean Payton or Bo Nix or both for that matter. And that doesn't make any sense to me. And also, I get why we were kind of having this conversation a little bit, with Daniel Jones, and it's interesting. But, Daniel Jones is not this completely awful, terrible quarterback. That's why he's been able to last in the NFL for as long as he has been able to. You can't last that long and not have some abilities. Just not the way it works. It's just not. And Shane Steichen is an awesome coach. Specifically offensively. And he made the Colts a contender with Gardner Minshew. And he would have gotten to the playoffs and beaten the Texans if it wasn't for Gardner Minshew. Or I don't even know if it was Gardner Minshew's fault. I think that it was a 4th down conversion that the receiver just dropped, I think is what it ended up happening. But he had that game won. He had it and was going to lead them to the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. Okay, and beat C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, and C.J. then wouldn't have gone on to the playoffs and had the season that, and won his first playoff game, and people would have been a little bit less high on C.J. So that's a real thing. And so what we saw with Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen, I don't think was necessarily a fluke. I do think what we saw with Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos was a fluke. I do believe this defense will be better and will disrupt Daniel Jones significantly more. than Daniel Jones was facing against the Miami Dolphins. That's for sure. I don't think anyone ever believes in the Miami Dolphins defense. It's literally why Brew is always doing the whole breakdancing and all of that. Their defense just continues to just get worse and worse and worse. And I believe in Tua. I actually think Tua is a pretty good quarterback. But like, they struggle offensively. They struggle to just run that from a coaching perspective, from an on-field perspective. Everything was going on with Tyreek Hill, like it's just weird and messy. It just is. It's just weird and messy over there. So like, I don't really use the Miami Dolphins as a barometer of anything. And I do not think that Bo Nix going into this game is going to try to do too much or try to be something that he's not. And to me, if he does, my conclusion will be more of that. Okay, it seems like Bo Nix is a little bit of a slow starter, because that's what we would have saw now over these first two seasons of him kind of, it's a little bit harder for him to kind of get in the rhythm here. But I have the confidence that Sean Payton should understand this. But to try to create this narrative that he's been told from Sean and the media how great this team can be and how great Bo Nix is, and I've coached Drew Brees for all these years, and now Bo Nix is starting to essentially just start to, believe that he's better than he is, and now he's trying to do too much, and that's why. And it's just like, come on, man. It's like, come on. What are we talking about now? Seriously, like, what are we talking about? Like, we're gonna now downplay the success that Bo Nix had last season and just pretend like it was just nothing. Like, he wasn't top in the NFL in total touchdowns and second all time in passing touchdowns for rookie quarterbacks. Like, he played really well. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead. We're now just going to pretend like that's nothing. We're just going to act like that's just nothing, and he did it as a rookie. Really? He was unshook. He was unshook in his first ever playoff game in Buffalo. Yeah, I know they got beat good. Not his fault. Not his fault at all. He was leading that team to either lead or tie in the first half against the Buffalo Bills on the road. He played fine. He was out balling. He was doing anything he could. He needed to use his legs, his arms. He wasn't the problem. That was his first ever playoff game on the road. And he went up against the Buffalo Bills, who are an awesome team, obviously, with Josh Allen playing at home. So we're just going to pretend like that's like an easy thing to go into? Like, get out of here, man. And it's also rich to put this all on Bo Nix. Because for the big prevailing argument was that the Broncos don't really have good weapons to deal with. And that's when I then backed Nick into the corner and was like, well, wait a second. If you don't believe that the Broncos have that good of an offensive roster, then isn't it more amazing what Bo Nix was able to accomplish offensively then? And so now, if you still have that take, then shouldn't you say, well, yeah, of course Bo Nix is going to struggle. He doesn't have a lot of pieces around him. Like, so it's just, that's what's always funny about some of those takes. Because it's harder you can't make both things true when you have the season that Bo Nix had last year. Both things can't be true. They just can't. It's not possible. Because if Bo Nix wasn't that good and the offense wasn't that good, well then Bo Nix wouldn't have been able to have any of the amount of success that he had last year. I mean, how could he? How would it be possible? He can't be carried he can't be carried by the roster. So, yeah. I'm excited for week 2. New game. I believe in the Broncos. I believe in Bo Nix. I believe in Sean Payton. I'm going to be really interested to see how Sean Payton calls this game. What is his game plan? What conclusions did Sean, conclude from that first game? Was he like, I think we were doing too much. I think we were a little too aggressive. I think we were a little too hyper. I want to kind of ground everyone. I want to run the ball more. I want to get easier passes. I want to really work the short game. I really want to do a lot more screen pass. Whatever it is. Like, I'm curious to see what conclusion he draws, or if he's just like, that was just a week 1 game. What are you going to do? Bo Nix is going to continue to be great. It was just one game. I'm not going to make any changes right now. I'm keeping everything how I envisioned it this season, and that could be too. And you kind of get that benefit of the doubt, or you get that kind of wiggle room when you still win the game. when you still win the game. And you still kind of can be like, it's a little bit easier to chalk it up as just a thing. But Sean Payton himself said, I love games that we win, that we don't play well, because then we get to have the best week of practice. We get to have the best week of practice. It's harder. It's harder when you play great but lose. Or even if you play great and win, because then it's like, we don't gotta do anything. We won. We're good. If you play great but lose, it's kind of like, unfortunate luck, or we just played a better team. What are you going to do? We played as great as we could, and the players feel it, right? But if you win and you don't play good, then you're like, whoa, we got plenty to work on. We weren't even close to playing our best game, and yet we still came away with the win. Let's get to work. And that's what the Broncos got to work with week 1. So curious to see what this week has looked like for the Broncos, and what this game against the Colts is going to look like. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix? What do you think is more likely to repeat a week 1 performance? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.